I work for a bank. I don't want to do that for the rest of my life, you know. My goal in life is to just have a bit more freedom.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Winners on a Wednesday, and in this video I'm going to be picking the brains of a man who's become a property millionaire. He had a little house which he refinanced and then bought a whole bunch of houses, and he's done super well in the Wirral, Liverpool area, and I thought it'd be really helpful and inspiring for you to learn exactly how he did it, property by property, step by step, how he financed it using the equity of his home, how he's done the refurb and kept it really cheap so that you can do the same thing too. But the first step to being successful in property, of course, is to go ahead and smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a future video. Aidan, firstly, thanks so much for coming down to my house.
Hi Samuel, nice to meet you.
It's a real pleasure. So you've done, over the last 18 months, you've gone from a normal guy in debt with one house to now being a serial property investor and technically financially free. And also, once your fifth house completes, a property millionaire. So
It'll be just over $1 million when this deal goes through.
So I wanted to kind of really pick your brain, because a lot of people ask me, they say, how do you refinance a house? Do you have to get bridging? How can you get multiple mortgages? And also you've had to do lots of refurbs. So I really just wanted to understand the concept of how you've done it, and also what was it that inspired you in the first place? Where did this all come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So about 18 months ago, during the pandemic, I was working from home. It was just me in the house at the time. You know, I had about £500 in my bank account. It's raining outside, I'm miserable, I'm not seeing anybody. So I just started looking on YouTube. You know, as you do, you binge watch things, and came across yourself, Samuel Lee. It's like, who's this guy? You know, talking about property. A guy called Grant Cardone, I know he's a good friend of yours. So I'd never heard of you before, or Grant Cardone. And I didn't know too much about property either. I just thought it was something that really rich folk did, and you know, you needed loads of capital to get started. But I just had something in me that, you know, wanted more. So I started consuming the information that you were giving about refinancing property. So with me, since I was a kid, I've always had these sort of, I suppose you could say, negative forces, people in my life saying, you know, you can't remortgage a property. Why do you want to remortgage and get yourself in more debt? You know, I love my dad, he's been really supportive, but he was one of the ones that was saying, you know, find a good bank, get a mortgage, and that's it, stick with them. It's like, yeah, but that's, this guy, Samuel Leeds, is telling me to refinance, remortgage, boost the value, take the money out. No, that's you know, you don't need to put yourself at risk with things like that. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take a step into it. I'm going to take a risk, because really at that point in life I didn't have much to lose anyway. It felt like I was just, you know, in my day job, which I really like, but I wasn't wealthy. Also, during the pandemic, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I know influenced you a lot.
Yeah, classic.
Absolutely, and I'd never read it before, and it was like, almost like I'm an alien, and all these new things are like coming to me. But the words of wisdom, how the wealthy have assets, and how the middle class have debt, and the difference between good and bad debt. Yeah. I was like, that's it, that's what I need to start. These principles I need to start implementing. So I was calling around a number of different brokers. Didn't have much luck at first. You know, I just wasn't clicking with the right broker. I ended up becoming friends with a really good one on the Wirral, a guy called Mark. And we've become really good friends, and he suggested, you know, we can release X amount from the property that you're living in.
Yeah.
I didn't realise this was even possible. I just thought, okay, I've got a mortgage. I didn't even think to release more equity, and you can release up to 75% of the worth of the property. So that's what I did. So I took out 25,000 from my first property. It took ages to go through. And then when I got it, it was like this golden, yeah, I've never had 25 grand in my bank before. And that feeling of like, I felt like so like rich, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't seem like much, but to me at the time it was like, wow, this is good money. So I was looking around and I found a property on the Wirral for 80,000, but the market at the time was just so crazy. It was like every house that I was looking at was gone by the time I put an offer in. You know, there was like 10 viewings each time I'd go. So I got lucky and I bought this house. Really good price, put 20k in, so put 25% in. And in my day job, I'm a project manager, so I work with budgets, I work with planning. So I noticed that these skills was something that I could bring to the property world. So I used my property management skills and I managed to kind of renovate this property for less than £5,000. So I got a really nice kitchen for around £2,000.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It was like this Rapid Kitchens place in Liverpool, really good. But I think it's just like one bloke that works as a sort of a broker almost, and he's packaged it up as a company. But yeah, £2,000, really good, nice and clean. Got a bathroom for £1,000. Got the electric set up. Did a lot of the painting and things myself, electrician. But for less than £5,000, I was able to boost the value of this property for £132,000.
Holy moly, that is the perfect buy, refurbish, refinance property right there.
I struck gold. Like,
so you bought it for how much?
80.
You bought it for 80, and then the new value was 132.
Yeah.
And of course, following the teachings and principles.
Absolutely.
What do you do with that?
Yeah, so your book, I always get this wrong, buy low, rent high.
Yeah.
So I read your book, binge watch hours of your videos of how to renovate a property, how to get a good deal, how to search the market. I was such a newcomer to it. I appreciate that this deal isn't common, so I got a really good deal in a low market.
Yeah.
And I took almost 40,000 out of it. Yeah, and then in a matter of months, you know, I've gone from sort of £500 miserable on my own in lockdown to having really like 40, 50 grand in my bank account. So I just carried on, you know, and one of the things that I'd recommend, something that I've done, and you've mentioned this as well, is having a power team.
Yeah.
Having people that you can really trust. So I've got a really good broker, I've got a really good real estate agent, my solicitors are brilliant. So I've got a team that I can really just call at any time. And we tend to help each other, we make things happen. I managed to get 2 more and repeated the process. So both of those were in Liverpool.
And how did you finance those? Did you finance them from the refinance of the second property?
Yes.
You then pulled the money out and then recycled it into another property?
Yeah, recycled
wow.
it. Yeah, and it's so bizarre, but I almost became desensitized to the money. It didn't feel like I was wasting 50 grand. It felt like I was investing and using the principles that you've communicated on your videos. I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone as well, and I think you're very similar to Grant Cardone. And I think what separates you from him is you're more practical to the UK property market. While I think Grant's more, I think he's like a Tony Robbins type, he's very energetic, isn't he? So both of you, I think, without you realising it, were my mentors.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know, just keep going. And I think one of the things Grant says is cash is trash.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with that. I think some cash is good, but that's one of his things. So I bought 2 more, repeated the process. And again, during the process, I just did a lot of it myself. So, you know, I'm somebody 2 years ago, I couldn't even paint a wall. I didn't know how to sand anything. I'm just a terrible DIY person. But, you know, it's just slowly I've learned how to do some of this stuff. And you want to just keep the costs low, you know. So when you're renovating, any contractor that you're talking to, you have to hustle with them and haggle and barter, and you just don't take the first price. So I'm a salesman at heart. So for 10 years in my early life, I was in sales. And you teach really great principles you have a system in place of what people can do from zero to being financially free. But what I would also say is that there's a little bit of skill involved as well. And I was thinking of it, it's a bit like sort of climbing a mountain or climbing Everest. A teacher and a mentor like yourself can give somebody the right tools, you can give all the equipment, you can show them how to climb. Even, like the Sherpas, they drag somebody up the mountain to force them up there. But there is going to be times when that person has to sort of jump over a wall or something themselves. There are going to be parts in the journey. And that's where your natural skill comes in. So I remember when I bought one of the houses, there was already 2 offers in place. And they were higher than what I wanted to offer. So I think she had an offer of 112 and I wanted to offer 106. So I thought, okay, let me try and work some magic. Let me see if I can sell my own deal to her. So it was on Purple Bricks, so you can message them on that. So I messaged her and just said, look, I'm a young investor, I live about 10 minutes from you, really love the house, would you like to meet up for a chat and, just discuss a deal. So we ended up becoming really good friends, bizarrely, and during the whole sale process, she was telling me about her job and things and texting, so really bizarre rapport. But she actually accepted my offer, which was £6,000 less than what she'd already been offered. But I think to myself, I've sold something there. So she's actually left 6k on the table to work with me. So I think there's something to that. I think you need to have that. You need to have good people skills.
Yeah.
Work on building a rapport. You know this. You're in the business. I'm still sort of learning it. But I thought that was really profound.
Yeah. It's almost like you've got the skills of being able to do a property deal, the finance side, the hard skills, and then there's the soft skills of being able to actually deal with people. And I feel like that's the case, not just in getting the deal, but also in getting the refurb done, also in getting the tenants filled and managing the tenants, in getting the mortgage broker and the solicitors to hurry up. Mm-hmm. It's a people business.
Absolutely.
And when you can combine the skills of property with, and ultimately, money doesn't come from property, it comes from people. Mm-hmm. And when you can deal with people and know how to talk to people, I think you're right. I think that's a massively, and you've learned from me about the property side of things, but then obviously people like Grant Cardone, sales, people, and Grant teaches both, and I teach both. But talk to me about a year and a half ago. You've got this you've got this fire in your belly. You've been binge watching YouTube videos. Yeah. You've been reading my books and doing some of my online video researching. But you've got your family and your friends telling you, be careful, don't do it, don't get into debt, just pay off your mortgage, keep your head down in your job. How did you manage to go ahead and do it on your own? I mean, talk me through that, because I imagine a lot of people can relate to that. They've got people telling them to be careful and holding them back.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost everybody who I mentioned this idea to said, don't do it. So almost there was like 100 problems of why not to do it.
Yeah.
And just something really sort of profound, I don't want to go sort of too deep, but when I was a kid, I remember with my dad, we were watching a boxing fight on TV, Chris Eubank or someone. I thought, and then I was like, Dad, I'd love to go to Vegas one day to a boxing fight. And then he said, no, people like us don't go to events like that. Almost, 30 odd years ago. I thought to myself, what does he mean by people like us can't go to events like that? And then I've heard sort of things, certain people from certain places, they say, if you go to Dubai or if you go to Miami, it's fake. It's fake. People like us don't go to places like that. That's a different world. And that's always stuck with me, because it's like, well, why is it fake? Why can't you enjoy the nicer things? It's almost that some people are living in this sort of matrix, and it's like anything outlandish and really cool is just not attainable, and it isn't for you, And I think what I was getting from certain people was, almost like, be quiet, stand there, sit in the corner, and just do your job, and that's it. Do what everyone else does. And for me, it was like, well, actually, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I don't want to be like in a job all my life, not thriving. So breaking away from that, really using the matrix analogy, it really was kind of like stepping out of the matrix. It was such a very difficult, and all the while I'm battling with these emotions and these thoughts, and no, don't do it. I was watching videos of your teachings of take action, just do it. And in my day job, I'm project manager. We know that there's risk, but good planning mitigates the risk. So of course they can trash the property. Of course, when you buy a house, there could be a huge damp problem. That takes thousands to fix. There's going to be problems, there always is. But you have to try and plan ahead for that. You have to mitigate those problems. And you know that with all the big projects that you work on, nothing ever goes smoothly. It's just how you plan the project. So taking action, I think, for me, I've always had something inside that wants more. I'm happy with what I've got. I'm not into extravagant things, but I want more. I want to go on the nice holidays. I want to enjoy life. You can't all be depressing and in work. So I think what I would say is just taking action is really important. And for me, that was really difficult. It took a long time and a lot of kind of, tunnel vision to take that first step of refinancing my existing place.
Big step.
Yeah. Now it doesn't feel like a big step. Now it's like, I'd do it 10 times over. But at the time, it was like, is this safe? Is this right? Everyone else is saying, don't do it.
Yeah.
So I think, I can't be the only one that feels that way. And I think taking action and just planning for any problems is the key.
Yeah, really important. Give me some practical tips on the refurb. So you managed to get this whole refurb done for £5,000. I think that's where a lot of people mess up. When you're doing a buy, refurbish, refinance, ultimately there's the three figures that you need to get right. You need to make sure you buy the right price. You need to make sure that the refurb comes in at the right price. And you need to make sure that the end value is high enough for you to then refinance, pull your money out on a 75% loan to value. So you got that refurb really cheap. I know you did some of the work yourself. Just give us some tips on how to get that refurb so cheap.
Yeah, so one of the things I started off with, so you've got a really nice place here, so the walls for me are really important, and the lighting. So what I did in all three of them was take the wallpaper off, which is easy, anyone can do that really, just scraper or a wallpaper remover. So clear the walls, sand it all down, again, anyone can do that. What I did, so I can't plaster, so I'm not that good, but I used polyfiller. I'm there sort of with my hand doing polyfiller. So you sort of cover all the gaps, sand it all down, and just give it 2 or 3 coats of white paint, similar to what you've got here, and it just gives it a really fresh look.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to do, you can do it. Skirting boards. I brought an electrician in for a couple of days, like £100 a day, so £200 for a guy to just fix some light fixtures in. I got some. You can buy cheap light fixtures from Argos for 15-20 quid that look nice, but not that expensive. So once you've got the walls and the lighting, I think for me that was like a big part of it. And then the expensive parts, kitchen, bathroom, and carpets.
Yeah.
They're the big sort of the heavy price items. So carpets, about £1,000 to do the hallway and rooms. Kitchen, I found a really good place in Liverpool. So for around £2,500 they do these kitchen fits in 2 days. And I've literally pinched the contractor as well. So it's a guy that does the work for them. Now he does other work for me. A guy called John, so we've become really good friends. But they come in, it's a family business. These contractors, they just fit it 2 days. You've got it's not like the best quality, but it looks really nice.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes all that matters.
And it's a cheap tenanted house at the end of the day. We're not talking about trying to do your own millionaire mansion. We're talking about, 100 grand houses here. So to spend 15 grand on a kitchen would be disproportionate with the
Sure.
cost of the house. Okay, well that's really helpful. I've noticed a lot you've talked about who you know as well, like the friends, contacts, mortgage broker, agents, and I really believe that it's not just about what you know, it's also who you know.
Yeah.
Give me some tips on pulling these people in, like even a mortgage broker. I see people, they watch a video of mine and I'll talk about how you can refinance your house, and they'll go to their bank to get a refinance, and then they'll say, oh, my bank told me no. And it's like, because you needed to speak to a mortgage advisor. And how did you manage to get these in with these people?
So it was difficult. So the broker, a guy called Mark, is just like a godsend. I owe him so much. He works for a company, but he's the guy that I work with. I was talking to a number of different brokers in the early stages, and they were just very. Some of them were unprofessional. Some of the bigger banks weren't getting back to me for weeks. It's like, well, it's almost as if they don't want my business.
Yeah.
Some of us were making me sign up to this thing, putting all my sort of income and outcome expenditures in, but it just wasn't leading to anything. They were just coming up with inflated prices. So I sort of stumbled upon a company in the Wirral, Concept Mortgages. I don't mind saying it. Really, I'd highly recommend them. And it's so bizarre, Samuel, but everything I've asked of them, they've delivered. So I've said, okay, I want to remortgage this place. I want to try and get 30,000 out, and I want my repayment amount to be as low as possible. And I'd give a figure. And so far, they've made it happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think, what you know, who you know, and also your mindset, determination. I'm sure it's not all been easy. Was there a moment when you wanted to quit?
Absolutely. So it's such a weird feeling. So I know we've mentioned sort of property millionaire. I don't feel like a property millionaire at this stage. Although when you look at the numbers, that's what it is. But really, over the last 18 months, there's been a lot of hard work and a lot of expenditures as well. So it's almost going back to the mountain analogy. It is sort of climbing a mountain. There are going to be ups and downs, and you have to persevere. It's not an easy journey.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who thinks it's going to be easy and that's just going to be like this, I don't know if you don't mind me mentioning, but some videos calling you out saying, oh, I've tried this course and then, it didn't quite work. And I think to myself, well, actually, there's been hundreds of winners on a Wednesday of people who have done the courses and have succeeded. So what I would say to that person doing a video trying to call you out is, well, have you overcome the challenges that the mission has given you? Because there are going to be, it's not going to be easy. Have you been able to mitigate risks? Have you been able to, have you given up? Because people can give up. They might say, okay, screw this. I'm not carrying on with this. So there are pitfalls that you just have to, fortune favours the brave, and you have to persevere. And I think, maybe that's what separates the people on Dragon's Den and the millionaires to the not millionaires. They've persevered, they've gone through the challenges, they've had that, overcome the fear almost.
Yeah, and I think as well it's really important that you've got a strong reason why. So when the going gets tough, rather than thinking, oh, forget this, I'm going to try and find an easier route, or you think, no, actually, I've got a strong reason why, and I've got a fire that's burning, and even in the tough days, because we can talk about how many millions we've made, or how many deals, or pulled all the money out, and you explain it in 30 seconds, but actually it might have been 6 months worth of blood, sweat and tears. Yeah. So for yourself, Aidan, what would you say what's that strong reason why?
So I've been working for the man for the last 11 years, so I work for a bank, and I really enjoy it. I love working there, really great people that I work with, and I enjoy it. And I'm not in a position where I want to leave my day job, but I don't want to do that for the rest of my life, you know. And you see all these, my goal in life is to just have a bit more freedom to work on my own projects. You know, obviously there are financial goals that I've set myself, but also I just want to work on really big projects, and something that you've said, Grant Cardone and others have said, is that you need high goals. If you wake up in the morning and your goals don't, and this is going to sound a bit cheesy, but if your goals don't scare you a little bit, then they're not high enough, you know. And I really believe in that. You know, we have a sort of a depression pandemic in the world where a lot of people are kind of slumped and miserable. It's because they don't have any goals.
Yeah.
They're not working to anything. They're just in a job that they sort of trudge along to. So I think for me, I'm very goal driven. You know, and just in terms of the why, freedom, financial reasons as well, and just working with people. You know, for me, I'm happiest when I'm collaborating with people, working on big deals. And really, the last 18 months have been really fun as well. You know, I'm 36 now, but I've had more fun in the last 2 years than ever, really.
Yeah.
You know, I've been able to go on as I said before, a nice holiday in Dubai with my girlfriend. We had a villa and everything. It was really nice. You know, I could never have done that before.
Yeah.
So it does open doors, and you know, I don't think money gives you happiness, but it does open doors and gives you that freedom. So, yeah.
Have you surprised yourself over the last 18 months? Did you know it was going to... Would you have thought 18 months ago when you first made the decision to refinance that one house, did you know how far you'd come in 18 months?
No. So the feeling of that first deal, and I got, you know, I probably got a little bit lucky because I bought the house cheap and the value was so high afterwards. But it's so addictive, you know, like I just want more and more now. It's sort of like a drug almost, you know, that feeling of success. And I just want the deals to get bigger and bigger. And I'm working on something now, which is a relatively big deal now, with sort of just buying a house of just over 200,000. And then after that, there'll be more. So one of the things I wanted to mention to you as well, so it's been 18 months, but I feel like I'm right at the beginning, really. So I went to your rent-to-rent course in Liverpool. So I haven't started rent-to-rent yet, but that's something that I want to get into. HMOs I haven't got into yet, so I'm going to go on your training course to help me with HMOs, because I'm a little bit nervous about it. I don't know exactly what. In my head, it feels like there's loads of expense at the beginning, and then a little bit of skill involved to fill the rooms, manage the property, so I just need help with that. But I feel like I'm right at the beginning. And joint ventures as well.
Well, I can't wait for part 2 in another year when you've gone from millionaire to multi-millionaire property portfolio. But, you know, massive congratulations on what you've done. There's been a lot of information there, so I'm sure my subscribers will really enjoy it. What would you say your final words of wisdom are for anyone watching today?
I think final words of wisdom is, if you've got a goal, just go for it. You know, don't listen to negative, you know, go for it, take action, stay positive. And also just work on knowledge as well. So invest in yourself, invest in being around good people, and yeah, just go for it. Be ambitious.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much, Aidan, for coming down to my house today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Guys, I hope you found that useful. What an absolutely amazing guy. So many knowledge bombs and golden nuggets dropped during that last half an hour or so. I tell you what, why don't you go ahead and hit the like button. Also, if you enjoyed the video, let me know what you like best about this interview, and I'll try and do more of it. So let me know in the comments. If you want to come down to the Property Investors Crash Course, which is completely free, where you can learn how to also get started in property like Aidan did, I'm going to leave a link in the description. We've currently got free tickets available, limited spaces, so get booked now. What are you waiting for? Do it now, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Peace.